Bloomberg News.
All right, now Palm is trading lower today after reporting third-quarter sales missed estimates yesterday. The company is introducing a new smartphone, though, sometime in the first half of the year called the Pre to win back customers from Apple's iPhone and Research in Motion's BlackBerry. Elevation Partners agreed in December to lift its stake in Palm to 39%, and Roger McNamee is co-founder and managing director at Elevation. He joins us now from our San Francisco studio. Roger, thanks for joining us. Listen, let me just start with the fact that you say the battle is not between Apple's iPhone and BlackBerry's Research in Motion's BlackBerry, but between Motorola and the other smartphones. Why is that? Because people typically think of Palm as a rival to BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, they're right to think of it as a rival, but the most important change that's taking place, particularly if you're an investor or a customer, is that we're going from what are known as feature phones, the old 12-key phones that just make phone calls and send texts, to smartphones. And the reason is because the cost of a smartphone has come down so much that the premium is tiny. And people realize that if they want, they can get a device that's fantastic for corporate email, that would be a BlackBerry, or a device that's fantastic for playing music or playing games, that would be an iPhone. Or, you know, knock wood, they'll be just as excited about the Pre, and that would be if you're a person who's really focused on the web or you're really busy. And what I think you're going to see is a very rapid market share shift away from simple phones to these much more capable smartphones. In the U.S., smartphones went from 10 to 20% just in the last year. And we would anticipate that they would be 50% within 5 years. And this is a huge market, right? 1.2 billion units sold per year. And so when people sit there and talk about Apple versus BlackBerry, what they forget, BlackBerry's global market share is about 1.2%, and Apple's is about 0.9 of 1%. So, you know, they aren't really fighting each other. They're really fighting folks like Motorola, Samsung, LG, the people, Nokia, the people who make the old-fashioned phones.
So it seems you're saying there's room in the market for all of these big players. Clearly, BlackBerry is more focused. And by the way,
and many more. I actually expect you'll see new entrants as well.
I wonder, though, you've got to hone in on the iPhone. BlackBerry clearly is aimed at corporate customers, but the iPhone is a web tool as well as a music player. And it's interesting that that your company, Elevation Partners, was co-founded also by Bono of U2. And, of course, this company is so closely linked, at least in the public image, with Apple.
Well, and also, remember, my partner Fred Anderson used to be the chief financial officer at Apple. So, yeah, no, we're very big fans of Apple. I've been an Apple customer continuously since 1986. I wouldn't use any other kind of computer. I have an iPhone. You know, I have an iPod Touch and lots of other iPods. They make great products. And, you know, for media, they're fantastic. But our product, the Palm Pre, and again, I'm a board member of Palm. We're a huge investor in the company, just so people understand the conflicts here. But I mean, our product's just going to run rings around him on the web. I mean, if you want to go to the web, it's just going to be a million times, well, not a million times, be several times faster, and that's a huge deal for most people.
So what is your target audience? I mean, are you looking at a new generation of smartphone users, maybe the younger kids? Are you looking at a different kind of a job element? Where's the Pre aim?
Actually, I would tell you, I don't know who's going to buy it. And when I say that, it's because phones are very personal. You know how people really identify with their cars? Increasingly, they identify with their phones as well. And there are aspects of the Pre that are unlike any phone you've ever seen before. If you look at the iPhone, or if you look at BlackBerry, you look at a Microsoft Windows mobile device, or even the Google phone, they're all based on personal computer technology. And the Pre is the first one that is the next generation. And the result is it does a lot of things the other guys don't do. We think that women are going to find it particularly attractive, and we think people who want the latest technology are going to find it particularly attractive, and anybody who's incredibly busy. It's really aimed at people who are busy, because part of this redesign is getting you away from the personal computer model where you have to, if you want something to happen, you have to direct it. This product's going to do a lot of automation, and it's going to appear to think for you. And I think people who are busy are going to find that really appealing.
Speaking of women, Roger, I have a question for you. As part of your due diligence before you invested in Palm, do you think the Pre is going to have a problem, or why should investors be concerned, or even buyers of the Pre be worried about having connection problems, similar to what we saw with Apple when it debuted iPhone?
Well, that's actually a fantastic question. So the issue with third-generation networks, the so-called 3G networks, is that technically they're very difficult to maintain. They are digital, and as a consequence, the beam, if it's interrupted for even a moment, drops the call. And what happens is that as these 3G networks first go in place, drop calls are a huge problem. The more mature your network, the more stable it is. And Sprint, which is our partner, has by far the most mature 3G network. They started before anyone else. And AT&T's is brand new. And so it's not that AT&T's a lousy network provider. It's that their stuff is just, it's new. And it's going to take a few years to get the kinks out. And it doesn't matter whether you're using an iPhone or any other 3G device on the AT&T network. It's just less stable. And, Verizon is relatively much more stable, and Sprint more stable than that. And, so if you're using 3G, you're just going to be happier on Sprint or on Verizon than you are on AT&T. But that won't be forever. I mean, AT&T will fix it.
All right, Roger McNamee, co-founder of Elevation Partners, our guest this afternoon.
Hear more Bloomberg News reports on the Bloomberg Terminal at AV Go, on Bloomberg Television, and on Bloomberg Radio. Copyright Bloomberg LP.